All right, in this video, we're going to be going over the product mix optimization. So we're going to be using Google Sheets with an add-on that I'll show you in a minute. So the first thing that you want to do, and we'll go over this since this is the first video in this series, is to install SolveSheet in Google Sheets. So mine is already installed, but if you don't have it, go to Extensions and Add-ons. And then when you click on Get Add-ons, you can just type SolveSheet here. And then it comes up. You will click on it to install it, and it will ask for authorizations to be able to operate. So you click through those, and it will install it. If you need more of a detailed walkthrough, I'll link to a whole video about how to install it. But let's say we've already installed it. So then you can just come up to Extensions, go down to SolveSheet, and say Start SolveSheet. So that'll come up on the right hand side. You will get this toolbar and it's ready to go. And we're not going to use a quick start for this video because part of the point is to show you how to fill it out. But there's actually one called Product Mix. You can just load that if you want to take a look. But what we're using here is a template, and I'll put a link to it in the video description so you can get your own copy of this. And what this is an example of a company that has a product mix of 3 items, right? So you have brackets, hinges, and frames. That's listed here in A6 through A8. And they're using this model to figure out how many of each to make to maximize profits given the constraints. So the constraints are down at the bottom where brackets use 2 machine hours, for example. The hinges use 2 labor hours. There are 3 resources that are limited. The last one is steel. So as you change the number of each product that you're making, it changes the resources that it's using. But you only have so many resources, right? So that's why those are called your constraints. Those are listed right here. So let's take a look at this sidebar, and you'll see that this is listed in the same order. So the objective, working from top down, is to maximize profits, right? So we'll fill that in a second. And it's by changing variables, and the variables are how many items you're making, and with subject to certain constraints. And those constraints are what is listed down here at the bottom. So let's fill this out. First thing, set objective, maximize profits. The profits here are in D9. This is a formula, so you're always going to want to be pointing at a formula because that's the value that will change. If it's a hard-coded number, it's never going to change, so you're not doing anything. But you want to maximize this. So this is cell D9. So we will come over to the objective and we will just say D9. You can also just point at it, see how I have it highlighted here, and you could click this button. We'll do that. That will pull it in automatically without me typing. And you'll see it prepins the worksheet name to it. So that's just, it's the same cell reference, but this is just more specific. It's same which worksheet it's in. Both will work. So the objective is to maximize D9. Next thing that we're going to do is look at what the variable cells are. So we can use regular spreadsheet language in this and specify a range. So the variable cells are in, let me point to them first. They're here, C6, C7, C8, right? So we can go in and we can type C6 colon C8. So that means all the way down to and including C8. Those are the amounts that this add-on is going to change. So when the add-on goes through and changes it, it can try hundreds of different combinations. So that's why you need this add-on. So you're not sitting here typing in a different number in these variable cells to figure it out, because that would take forever. So let's add the constraints. We can add them one at a time, or you can add them with quick add here. And again, since this is our first video, let's just add them one at a time, nice and easy. So the constraints are that we can't use more resources than are listed in F13 through F15 here, right? So the first constraint is that the number of machine hours, which the total is going to be in E13. need to be less than or equal to F13. We will add that as our first constraint. Let's add the next one. We're saying labor hours, which is E14. Need to be less than or equal to the limit in F14. Notice you're not hard coding any numbers in here. So if you want to change these values, you do it in the body of the spreadsheet. So it's a best practice to build these this way with cell references. Now the last one is steel. And that's E15 is where the total is going to be. When we solve, you'll see these numbers changing as we change the number that we're making. And so the constraint here is F15. We will click OK. And let's look at the bottom here for our little reference to make sure we got everything right. So D9 max, right? That's our objective. Variable cells C6 through C8, and the constraints are same as what we listed. Now this last one, C6 through C8, is greater than or equal to 0. You can get that by leaving this check mark in this box. If you think about it, you can't use negative steel, right, or make a negative amount of products. So it makes sense to leave that checked in this case. And we're going to be using the simplex method, because this is going to be a linear solve. In the options, we are just going to leave these as is. Let's click solve. And we will come over here and watch C6 through C8. It's going to try different values. Not a whole lot. This isn't a giant model, so it won't have to go through too many iterations. But it pretty quickly got to 0, 20, and 70. So I tested it, and the maximum profit that you can make is 3,100. And if you come down to the constraints, you can see that we did not break any of them, right? 180 is equal to 180, 300, and we had a little bit of machine hours left over. The one thing that we'll do here is we will choose an answer report. And this is kind of if you want to summarize everything. Sometimes your textbook will want you to do this. This is a readout of what we just did in the product mix. But this won't change. So if you play around with the product mix, change some values, this sheet is going to stay the same. So it'll be your permanent record. All right. And in this next video, we're going to go over optimizing staff scheduling with SolveSheet. I'll see you in that video. Thanks for watching.